Just to run through the two teams briefly for you again. Belturbet team in goals there in Donohoe. Full-back line on the right, Rory Donohoe. Full-back, Mark Lawler. On the left, Oliver Donohoe. The half-back line on the right, Conor Walsh. Centre-half, Paul Murphy. On the left, Gareth MacDonald. Centre field wearing number 8, John McDonald. Wearing number 9, Kieran McCaffrey, captain. The half-forward line on the right, Cavan Walsh. Centre-half, forward Brian Mulvaney. And on the left, Killian McGuire. The full-forward line on the right, Jason Riley. Full-forward, Barry Lawler. On the left, Ian Corby. Then team in goals, Brian Boylan. Full-back line on the right, Barry Hyland. Full-back, Paddy Gaffney. On the left, Oliver Brady. The half-back line on the right, Pat Baker. Centre half-back, Paul Hyland. And on the left, Philip Gallagher. Centre field, wearing number 8, Jonathan Brady. Wearing number 9, Pascal Gallagher. The half-forward line on the right, Martin Donohoe, the captain. On the 40, Thomas Smith. And on the left, Piers McGovern. The full-forward line on the right, Kenneth Rockwell. Full-forward, Donald Chogan. On top of the left, Sean Tracy. The referee for today's game is Michael Lyons from Drummondlea. His linesmen are Pat Carroll and Donald Riley.
The Belturbet Youth Band lead the parade for this Cavan Intermediate Football Championship Final of 1996. Due to a clash of colours, both teams have changed. Belturbet playing in saffron and white, Den in blue and white.
Castlevania have beaten Carrickmore 8 points to 7. And in the ladies All-Ireland final in Croagh, the half-time score is Laois 1-6, Monaghan 1-4.
So the Belturbet Youth Band now getting that round of applause from the crowd as they lead the teams around on this pre-match parade. The teams now breaking away and going to take up their positions. As the crowd rise for the playing of our national anthem. Things set and ready for the 1996 intermediate final. Some positional switches as we look around. We'll tell you about them. I can tell you that Jason Riley is lining up at full forward for Belturbet, and Barry Lawler is at top of the right. Paddy Gaffney gone out into the corner to mark Barry Lawler, and Ollie Brady in on the edge of the square as the game gets underway, and ball broken down, and Dan MacDonald of Belturbet gone down in possession, taking a knock in the first few seconds and in need of attention. JJ Murphy in there with the bag of tricks to administer some attention to the injured Belturbet player. It's Kieran McCaffrey, in fact, who was down injured. In it goes, and now it's Thomas Smith for Den, who will send the ball inside to Donald Cavan. Cavan surrounded in there by Belturbet players as it comes back to Tommy Smith, and Smith having the shot from way out the field. It's going high and going wide. Aaron Donoghue to take the kick out. Way out towards the middle, hands reach in, and it's Philip Galligans who gets it as it come down. He gets the free. Thomas Smith to take the free for Den and lob it in high. Ball broken down in front of goal in there, and eventually it's knocked out by a forward out over the end line. Aaron Donoghue has gone down injured. A minute and a half about played, though a little more than that has elapsed since the ball was first thrown in, and already there's been a couple of stoppages. As Aaron recovers and prepares to take the kick out for Belturbet. Bunching out there in the middle, and the ball was picked up by Killian McDwyer, who fed it back to Conor Walsh. Conor Walsh laying it further backfield. Paul Murphy moving through the middle, and Paul playing it out now to Benny Mulvaney. Mulvaney on the 45-metre line into the on-running Paul Murphy. Murphy playing it for the nice interception by Thomas Smith is back there, and there's a free out to Den. Paul Hyland to take the free. Back a little bit, says referee Michael Lyons. Ball knocked down. Kenneth Rothwell. Rothwell being challenged in there by Kieran McCaffrey. Donald Cavan was gone to ground in there, but the free is not for the foul on him. Donald Cavan coming out to take the free for Den, just inside the 45-metre line, and lobbing it in high. Kieran McGovern to Sean Tracy, Tracy to Philip Galligan, Galligan across in there. Tommy Smith shot off the crossbar, a rasper. And now it's Gavin Walsh. Ollie Donoghue's clearance way up the field. Killian McGuire. Killian still chasing after it over there. Pat Baker gets it for Den. Ball out over the sideline. Played way up for Jason Riley. Michael Lyons calling up the play and not happy with something he saw. And the man who gave him such protection in the All-Ireland final for the Masters a little while ago is now having his name taken by the man who was then goalkeeper. Belturbet free. About 5 minutes played and the scoreboard still reading a lot of zeros. It will still read those zeros as the ball is sent wide. Brian Boylan to take the kick out for Den. Out into the centre. Kieran McCaffrey got a touch to it. Now it's Gavin Walsh who will send the ball upfield. Ollie Brady and Jason Riley in a tangle, and advantage is going to Ollie Brady for the foul. He was held as he tried to get it, and Tommy Smith was back there to get the ball for Den. Sending it down, Kenneth Rothwell and Rory Donoghue will chase after it, but it's gone out over the sideline. Belturbet line ball down here to our right. Rory Donoghue's kick, upfield. Kieran McCaffrey will pick it up. Tackled by Pascal Galligan as the ball is played into Paul Murphy. Paul Murphy laying it back to Conor Walsh. Conor Walsh tackled by Martin Donoghue, a foul on the halfway line. Conor Walsh to take the free. Into Brian Mulvaney, and Benny Den will tap it further inside. Killian McGuire playing it in now to Jason, and Jason is bundled over. Dan McDonald to take the free for Belturbet. Coming back off of the crossbar, and Paddy Gaffney to clear it outfield. Dan McDonald will get it. And Dan McDonald sends in the shot that goes to the right and wide. There's 7.5 minutes played. We await the first score. Brian Boylan's kick. Kieran McGovern picking it up for Den and sending it down the wing to Sean Tracy. Tracy near the sideline will sell the dummy to Ollie Donoghue and send the ball right across into Martin Donoghue. Martin Donoghue tapping it further on for Tommy Smith. Smith fouled as he goes forward. Thomas Smith to take the free from the 20-metre line in front of goal. Almost 9 minutes played in the first half. And Thomas Smith has opened the scoring with a Den point. Aaron Donoghue to take the kick out for Belturbet. Out across halfway, Dan McDonald tapped it on, Kieran McGovern going back there. Garrett McDonald back to challenge as Kieran McGovern sends the ball down in field. Conor Walsh to grab it for Belturbet. Conor now to feed it across. Garrett McDonald laying it off. Barry Lawler has moved way outfield and will send that ball in towards Ian Gorby. Gorby to lay it on for Brian Mulvaney. Mulvaney tapping it on for Jason Riley to run on to it. Brian Boylan is alert to it. And Brian to send the clearance outfield. That's Barry Lawler of Belturbet who gets it. And Barry Lawler sending it in. It's dropping in. Paddy Gaffney bringing it down. Brian Mulvaney trying to get a swing to it. Pat Baker picks it up. Pat Baker then deciding that things weren't to his liking. The ball eventually out over the end line for a 45. Dan McDonald will take the 45 for Belturbet. Send it in, and Pat Baker couldn't quite hold on to it, and Gavin Walsh sent it in, and it hit the wood. It's a goal! The alertness of Jason Riley as Gavin Walsh's shot came back off the woodwork, and Jason was in like a rocket. Brian Boylan's kick. Martin Donoghue. Martin tackled as he goes forward in possession. Conor Walsh still after him. Play on as the referee as Kieran McGovern will feed it in. Donoghue Brady on for Pascal Galligan. Ball will break there now. Kieran McCaffrey will leave it, and Rory Donoghue will pick it up and clear it way out the field. Barry Lawler way back there, couldn't quite hold on to it. Philip Galligan gets it for Den. Philip Galligan sending it in. Mark Lawler grabbing it and sending it out to brother Barry, and Barry then challenged by Donald Keoghan as the ball comes upfield where Paddy Gaffney waits, and Paddy in possession under some pressure. 3 to Den. "13 minutes gone by my timing in the first half. Belturbet a goal, then a point. Philip Galligan to take the free. Down towards Donald Keoghan. And Keoghan fouled, and a free to Den. Donald himself to take it. Michael Lyons going in to consult with one of his umpires in there. Now for the kick. Donald Cogan kicks this one with the right. Sends it high and sends it wide.
With 12 minutes of the second half gone in Newry, Byrne are leading by a point, 1-7, down to 1-6.
Aaron Donoghue to take the kick out for Belturbet. Knocked down to Sean Tracy by Kieran McGovern, and Tracy coming across field and will feed it further on there now to Martin Donoghue. Donoghue trying to get away as the ball will break to Sean Tracy. Tracy lays it back. Donald Cogan's shot is going over. 1 goal to 2 points. About halfway through this first half as Aaron Donoghue prepares to take the kick out. Just watch that ball spin as it drops down and punched down to Kieran McCaffrey. The Belturbet captain will get it further on where Barry Lawler will play it across, intended it for Benny Mulvaney, but he couldn't quite get to it because Paul Hyland was there. Now it's Pat Baker, and Pat Baker to send Den on the attack, Donald Cogan. Martin Donoghue, whistle blown by the referee, free to Den, down here to her right. Thomas Smith will take the free. Swings it across to Sean Tracy's corner. Ollie Donoghue there with them as Tracy picks up possession. Tracy's still in possession but overstepping, and a free out to Belturbet. Goalkeeper Aaron Donoghue to take the free, so Conor Walsh's duty is to go back and man the goal line. Going out towards the sideline, Philip Galligan off his chest. Line ball which Gavin Walsh is preparing to take. Ball going inside, Jason Riley and Paul Murphy both chasing up for Belturbet, and it's Murphy who will play it in, but not going where he had intended. Free out to Den. Ollie Brady's kicked. Gavin Walsh held, free to Belturbet. It'll come back there now to Killian McDwyer. McDwyer's kick is blocked down, and it's going to go out over the sideline on the far side. And it comes, punched, but punched wide, and it remains 1 goal for Belturbet, 2 points for Den. My timing says 18 minutes played in the first half. Brian Boylan to take the kick out for Den. Out to Philip Galligan, who couldn't quite hold on to it. Jason Riley gratefully accepting that one. Jason is brought down. Dan MacDonald moving in to take the free. Dan sending this one over for a Belturbet point to make it 1-1 to 2 points. Brian Boylan's kick is high out across halfway. Well fielded there by Thomas Smith. Thomas playing it into the middle, and Mark Lawler is there to grab it and clear it out. Barry Lawler going out to break it down as Philip Galligan who picks it up for Den. Galligan will play it across where he's got Pascal to support him. Pascal Galligan now being challenged all the way by Kieran McCaffrey. Martin Donoghue in with support and dispossessed by Benny Mulvaney. And Mulvaney then will lay it on. Killian McGuire. McGuire will jab it on. There's the speed merchant Jason to run after it. But Paddy Gaffney, belying his years, comes across. Barry Hyland. Now Ollie Brady with the clearance. Dan MacDonald for Belturbet. And Dan, that's Paul Murphy who gets it. Paul Murphy feeding it further on to Barry Lawler. Barry Lawler back into the middle. And that's Killian McGuire with the kick that's gone over the bar. It's 1-2 to 2. Belturbet lead. Brian Boylan to kick out for Den. Trying new territory and finding Kieran McGovern. McGovern to send it down to Thomas Smith. Thomas in the centre of the field, fouled as he kicked it. It dropped inside the 45. The free being awarded from where the foul was committed. Thomas Smith sending it in. And some pushing in there on Kieran McGovern. Garrett MacDonald, the offender. Thomas Smith to take the free. Way out towards the corner and going wide, and it remains 1 goal and 2 to 2 points.
Cavan and Burn are level at 183 with 6 minutes to go.
Aaron Donoghue to take the kick out for Belturbet. Referee Michael Lyons urging him to hurry up a little as now the kick will come out the field. Philip Galligan laying it back. Pascal Galligan to send it right in there now to Donald Keoghan. Running onto it nicely with Donnacha Brady, getting it into Sean Tracy. Tracy back to Donnacha Brady. Brady trying to jab it in where Aaron Donoghue comes out to collect it. And Aaron Donoghue to solo his way out and then send the ball outfield. It's Killian McDwyer who got a touch to it. Don McDonald getting it further on now. Brian Mulvaney, and Benny will lay it out to Killian McDwyer. McDwyer back into Mulvaney. Mulvaney tapping it into Jason Riley. Jason, will he take them on as Jason is retaining possession despite being tackled? Takes the shot that's smothered. It's Ollie Brady. Oh, Ollie Brady is spun around there in a challenge, and the book is coming out. Killian McDwyer, the guilty party. Oh, the Den man still being attended to in there. A low scoring and indeed pretty low key first half so far. As Ali Brady gets to his feet, John Brady in there with the magic bottle. Brian Boylan will take the kick for Den. Dropping out to Martin Donoghue. Martin to send it down in the general direction of Donald Keoghan. It comes to Sean Tracy. Inside for Kenneth Rothwell. He'll knock it on. Aaron Donoghue gets a touch. Kenneth Rothwell goes down. Sean Tracy pulls on it and it tapped off Kenneth Rothwell and went out over the end line. It stays at 1-2-2 as Aaron Donoghue prepares to kick out. Garrett McDonald taps it down. Paul Murphy to Kieran McCaffrey. McCaffrey playing it infield. That's Rory Donoghue. He releases it to Garrett McDonald. McDonald across to Barry Lawler. Lawler trying to find space, but that might find the space of the sideline. It's a Den ball down here to our left. Barry Hyland with the kick. Ollie Donoghue. Out to Barry Lawler. On for Don McDonald. McDonald crossing halfway, looks ahead of him and sends the ball up, but Paddy Gaffney had been reading his intentions, and the very experienced Paddy to the youthful Philip Galligan, who sends it across to Thomas Smith. Smith is fouled and takes the free and sends it down to Donald Keoghan. Keoghan with the left foot from way out the field. It's gone wide. It remains 1-2-2. So Aaron Donoghue will once again kick out for the Belturbet men. Out across the 45. Philip Galligan will get it from the break, and Galligan to send it in where Mark Lawler waits. Mark Lawler is fouled by Donald Keoghan, and Donald's name will go into the book. Mark Lawler still being attended to down there. We'll wait and see. I'm sure it will be Aaron Donoghue who will take the free out just as soon as Mark Lawler has recovered sufficiently. I'd make it that there's about 2 minutes or so to half time, though almost 31 is ticked up on the clock. As Aaron Donoghue's kick comes high out across midfield. Knocked on now to Cavan Walsh. Cavan Walsh up for Jason Riley. Ollie Brady will go into challenge as Jason picks it up. And Jason still going with it, still going. Trying to swing the boot at it. It'll come back outfield where Thomas Smith of Denn gets it. And Thomas Smith then with a long relieving clearance way downfield. It bounces over Mark. And Donald Cavan in possession. Rory Donoghue into challenge. Donald Cavan with the shot from way out. It's going high and it's going wide. And it remains 1-2 to 2.
Thank you, man.
We await the kick out from Aaron Donoghue. A lot of bunching out there. Conor Walsh gets it from the break. Conor Walsh tackled and held. Sends the free on to Paul Murphy. Murphy to Kieran McCaffrey. McCaffrey sending it further up into the corner towards Jason Riley. Jason once again trying to take on the man, taking him on. Paddy Gaffney goes across. Jason Riley shot off the upright and gone wide. There were a few Belturbet players in pretty good positions, but Jason decided to have the shot himself. Very near that half-time whistle as Michael Lyons calls for the ball. It is half-time. So here in O'Reilly Park in Coothill in the Intermediate Football Championship Final of 1996, the scoreboard says Belturbet 1 goal and 2, Den 2 points.
Come on, Belturbet!
Michael Lyons gets the second half underway, and Tommy Smith of Denn in a tug-of-war there with Brian Mulvaney, and the referee going to throw the ball up on the halfway line. Conor Walsh. Conor to send it way downfield. Brian Mulvaney will pick it up and send it on to Barry Lawler. Barry tapping it in for Jason Riley. Jason running on in towards goal. Jason's shot is well blocked down in there again by Ollie Brady. And the Den defence clearing their lines as the ball now goes close to the sideline. Out over the sideline. Sent in quickly to Killian McGuire. Pat Baker challenging him all the way as Brian Mulvaney will lob that one across, and it's knocked down into the hands of Brian Boylan, whose clearance will come out bouncing over the sideline. Jason Riley out to take the line ball. Lobs it high across. Punched on and out over the end line by Barry Lawler, and it remains 1-2 to 2 with a minute and a half gone in the second half. Brian Boylan out towards the sideline. Dan McDonald of Belturbet. Advantage is to Belturbet. Dan McDonald will take the free. I think for a moment he wasn't quite sure if it was the free or the line ball that he was being awarded, but it is the free, and here he comes now with the kick. High across in, bounces off Philip Galligan, and it's sent in. Pat Baker is back there to grab it for Den, free out. Gets it out to Kieran McGovern. Conor Walsh into challenge as Kieran McGovern sends it up towards the middle. Garrett McDonald knocks it down. Donnacha Brady for Den. Donnacha trying to release it. And now it's Killian McDwyer will feed it on for Brian Mulvaney. Mulvaney across now. Dan McDonald will lay it out to Barry Lawler. Barry Lawler, his way is blocked, and the ball comes to Brian Mulvaney. The kick comes off the upright. Ian Gorby keeping it in play. Too many of those little steps, Ian. Martin Donoghue in possession for Den. We out there now as he gets it on for Thomas Smith. Smith now approaching and about to cross the halfway line, which he now does, and then sending the ball into Donald Keoghan. Keoghan has the ball knocked away from Sean Tracy, is there to support him. Tracy's kick is going over the bar. Aidan Rothwell is...
Raffle is number 622356.
Aidan Rothwell is into the Den team.
356.
Donnacha Brady is going off. Kieran McGovern is going, I would say, into centre half forward. Thomas Smith is at centre field. And Kieran McCaffrey is in possession. Dan McDonald with the free. Sending it in, Ollie Brady dispossessed by Jason Riley, and Jason's kick is going in and going over the bar. 1-3 to 3 points.
Ah, Jason!
Brian Boylan to take the kick out for the Den lads. Out towards the sideline. Thomas Smith. Tackled by Garrett McDonald. Still Smith in possession. 3 to Den. Sent upfield. Mark Lawler tried to tap it down, and Belturbet will come away with it as Dan McDonald gets it way down the field of Barry Lawler. Barry nicking it on for Jason Riley. Jason looking ahead and said, oh, great ball into the middle for Barry Lawler, but he can't get to it as Brian Boylan comes out. And Brian Boylan's kick going out. Garrett McDonald slips, going back. Martin Donoghue. Donoghue picking it up for Den. Free to Den on the far side, and Martin Donoghue to send it way up towards Donald Cogan, who has been held. Donald Cogan's kick into Ciaran McGovern. McGovern's kick is partially blocked down. And now the ball is ballooned way out over the sideline on the far side. Sean Tracy back to Donald Cogan. The kick is high. And the umpire signals that it has gone wide. The referee is in agreement with them. Aaron Donoghue will take the kick out. Out into the middle. Pascal Galligan. Ciaran McGovern. McGovern moving fast up along the right wing for Den. Moving fast to him is Paul Murphy. McGovern will play it across to Donald Cogan. The ball is knocked away from him, but then retaining possession now is Martin Donoghue with a kick that's going to drop in close to the end line. Sean Tracy keeping it in play, laying it back outfield to Donald Cogan. Cogan with a high kick that's going over the bar. 1-3 to 4 points. Just over 8 minutes played in the second half.
The winner of the 100 pound is Padby New Line Good Hill.
Aaron Donoghue to take the kick out. Free out there in the middle of the field. Dan McDonald sends it down. Ollie Brady alert to it for Den. Jason Riley in with the challenge, and illegal once is Michael Lyons.
Forward up!
Pascal Galligan sends it out over the sideline. Gavin Walsh to take the sideline kick for Belturbet, lobbing it down, breaking inside. Jason Riley, and it just nicked away from him. Pascal Galligan picking it up for Den and clearing it high out into the middle. It's 4 yellows against 2 blues, and it's Garrett McDonald who gets the ball and sends it across for Brian Mulvaney, and Benny trying to get away from the challenge to float that one way down towards Ian Gorby. Gorby to be tackled in there now by Barry Hyland, and it's Barry Hyland who will pick it up for Den. His kick is blocked down by Jason Riley. Ollie Brady goes across. They're still in after it there. It's Jason Riley who picks it up, feeds it across for Paul Murphy. Paul dispossessed as Pascal Galligan sends it out. Ciaran McCaffrey on mark gets it. Ciaran McCaffrey sends it in, and it comes off Brian Boylan coming down. Now Den about to clear their lines as it comes out towards Kenneth Rothwell, Aidan Rothwell that is. And Ollie Donoghue sending it back down the field, held by Paddy Gaffney. The wind catching that one as it's knocked down. The flag was the one who was keeping it in. The line ball is going to Den. Paul Highland to take the line ball. 1-3 to 4 points, 11 minutes played as Cavan McGovern will jab it on now, intended it for Donald Cavan. Aaron Donoghue will race out and let it run out over the end line, and it has gone wide. And Donald Cavan can afford a smile on that one. Paul Murphy, free to Belturbet from in or around their own 45-metre line. Two points between them. Downfield to Jason Riley, who's fouled. And Jason with the free in quickly. Good running and good thinking from Dan McDonald. And oh, great save from Brian Boylan. .45 to Belturbet. Dan McDonald out to take it. Twelve and a half minutes played in the second half. Dan's kicking low to Ian Gorby, and Ian Gorby picks it up and chips it over the bar. 1-4 to 4. Whether that was by accident or design, I will never know, but it is a Belturbet point. Brian Boylan's kick out. Out to Thomas Smith, laying it back to Pat Baker. Further back now to Barry Highland. Ball broken down, and Belturbet coming forward now with the ball in, intended for Jason Riley. Knocked away, and Paddy Gaffney will send it across into Thomas Smith. The experienced players trying to keep the Den men on course as Sean Tracy lays it in now to Cavan McGovern. McGovern jabbing it into Donald Cavan. Cavan being challenged. Somehow the ball is knocked away there by the boot of Mark Lawler. It's a kick from Aidan Rothwell that took a deflection for a 45. Thomas Smith to take the 45 for Den. Jason Riley's goal separates the sides as Thomas Smith's kick curls out towards the right. Kept in play out there. Free out to Belturbet halfway through the second half. Aaron Donoghue to take the free. Sent it across where Philip Galligan knocked it down, and now Kieran McGovern took the pass from Aidan Rothwell. Kieran McGovern tapping it into Sean Tracy. Tracy Lux shoots high across the face of goal. Despite the best efforts of Kenneth Rothwell to keep it in play, it has gone wide. So we wait for Aaron Donoghue to kick out. Outfield, tug of war out there as Kieran McGovern was deemed to be the first player in possession. Thomas Smith to take the free for Den. Dropping it in. Kenneth Rothwell. Kenneth trying to find space to take the shot. There's a free into Den in front of goal. Donald Keoghan to take the free. Taps it over with 17 minutes gone in the second half. It's 1-4 to 5 points. Aaron Donoghue to take the kick. Sean Tracy for Den. Tracy to lob it in. Ball bouncing inside for Kenneth Rothwell. Rory Donoghue across. Kenneth Rothwell. Now that won't count. The umpire is waving the flag, but that won't count because you cannot hand pass a ball to the net. The score disallowed. Aaron Donoghue to take the kick out. Punched down there by Pascal Galligan. Kenneth Rothwell for Den. Kenneth being challenged and being supported by Martin Donoghue, who is fouled. Donald Keoghan already moving over to take the free. And Donald swinging it way out to the right and wide. As Aaron Donoghue prepares to take the kick out. Kieran McCaffrey. Kieran McCaffrey sending it on for Paul Murphy. Near the sideline, down here beside us. Murphy playing it back to McCaffrey. And then Kieran will drop it down. Jason Riley running on. Jason with Barry Lawler in support. Lawler steadying himself, and from out the field sends it high and sends it over. A great score there from Barry Lawler. One 5-5. We've moved into the last 10 minutes. Out comes the kick. Conor Walsh will pick it up for Belturbet. Conor, that half block down. Barry Hyland for Den will clear it out to Ciaran McGovern. McGovern from outside his own 45 sends it up. Paul Murphy is back there for Belturbet. And Murphy will send it out to Ciaran McCaffrey. And Ciaran then into Conor Walsh. Conor Walsh will send it way downfield. That's going to bounce. And it bounces for Jason Riley. And Jason still going and hooking it in, but hooking it wide. Brian Boylan to take the kick out. Well held by Thomas Smith, laid off for Ciaran McGovern. Conor Walsh goes across the challenge as Aidan Rothwell takes it up. Aidan Rothwell still going and then sending it high and sending it wide, and it remains 1-5 to 5. Aaron Donoghue again to kick out for the Belturbet men. A free for the foul on Pascal Galligan. Thomas Smith will take it. Dropping it in to Sean Tracy. That was the intentions until Conor Walsh came up with other ideas, and now it's Barry Lawler. Barry's kick is high, way downfield. It's bouncing on there, and Gavin Walsh will get it. Gavin Walsh will jab it further on for Ian Gorby, who knocks it for Jason Riley. And Jason going. Paddy Gaffney comes across and picks it up. Dan McDonald for Belturbet will now lay it out to Barry Lawler, and Barry Lawler from inside the 45-metre line sends it in where Paddy Gaffney gets it. Paddy's held by Ian Gorby, free out to Den. Brian Boylan sends it out to Thomas Smith. A Den free. That's going to come near the sideline, but Donald Keoghan will keep it in play. Mark Lawler in with the challenge. Donald Keoghan still going. Conor Walsh in challenging now as the ball is played across to Sean Tracy. Tracy getting it inside and blocking down as Benny Mulvaney will feed it out to Killian McDwyer. McDwyer tackled by Pat Baker, and now it's Garrett McDonald. McDonald still going as he rolls it on to Dan. Dan McDonald needs support. Or does he? He plays it down the line. It's Jason Riley. Jason being chased, and Jason sends it in where Brian Boylan will take it, pass it out to Paddy Gaffney, and Paddy Gaffney with 5.5 minutes left in the game gets it outfield to Ciaran McGovern. Ciaran McGovern further upfield and intercepted by Ciaran McCaffrey. Ciaran McCaffrey just sent it way down again. Barry Lawler, he takes up some great positions. Barry out in the corner, feeding it into Ian Gorby. Gorby, is he going to go for the shot? It's going to swing to the left and go wide. There's 5 minutes left by my watch. There's a goal between them. That piece of opportunism from Jason Riley, which was Belturbet's first score of the game, as Brian Boylan's kick will come way out the field. Martin Donoghue for Den. Laying it back to Thomas Smith. Smith sending it up low. Rory Donoghue for Belturbet. And Rory rolling over and getting support from Garrett McDonald. There's a free to Belturbet. Don McDonald to take it. Way down for Jason Riley. And Jason tapping it inside. Philip Galligan was reading the intentions, and Ollie Brady is back there, and there's a free out. Ollie Brady's kick is going to bounce out. It's kept in play. Conor Walsh will pick it up. Ciaran McGovern kept it in for Denn, but Conor Walsh was quick to latch onto it. Now it's Jason Riley. Jason across into the middle in front of goal. And Barry Lawler's, it's a penalty. Barry Lawler's brought down a penalty to Belturbet. There's less than 4 minutes left in the game. And I don't think we've got to have any prizes for guessing who's going to take the penalty. Barry still being attended to in there. A goal between the sides. Barry Lawler fully recovered. Referee Michael Lyons placing the ball on the spot.
Substitution on the Denn team, number 22, Anthony McPhillips. Number 17 is Rockwell.
So Anthony McPhillips replacing Aidan Rothwell on the Den team. Jason is going to kick this one with his left. Brian Boylan has already made one great save in this match, and he's made another one from the penalty. Out comes the free to Ollie Brady. Plays it further on for Philip Galligan. Galligan's ball across field is held by Don McDonald of Belturbet. McDonald in now to Benny Mulvaney, back out to Don McDonald, who leaves it behind him, and Pat Baker. Don still gets a toe poke to it, gets it in now. Killian McDwyer and Pat Baker robbing him. And then which team will respond most to that penalty incident, as Den sends the ball way up the field? Donald Cogan back there, so also is Mark Lawler. So also is Rory Donoghue and Barry Lawler out to Mark. Now it's Benny Mulvaney. Too many steps. A free to Den. Pat Baker with the kick up to Thomas Smith. Smith across to the on-running Ciaran McGovern. Conor Walsh in with the challenge. Paul Murphy is there as well. Ball handled on the ground, and there's a free out to Belturbet. My watch says about a minute and a half left in the game, but it's the watch of referee Michael Lyons that will be of all the importance. I said hello to Phil Devine as he moved in. I'll say cheerio to him as he moves out. Aaron Donoghue to take the free. Out into the middle. It will break down for Paddy Gaffney. Free to Den. Time ticking away inside the final minute by my timing. Den have got to throw everything at it now. And Gaffney's kick held by Thomas Smith. Then have got to go looking for the goal. Thomas Smith takes the shot and sends it wide. The time that remains now is very, very limited indeed. Raymond Smith is in the game for Den. The referee indicating to the goalkeeper that time wasting as the kick comes out. Anthony McPhillips for Den. Ball knocked away from him by Conor Walsh of Belturbet. Conor Walsh is fouled and there's a free out. The 30 minutes have ticked over on my watch. 31 and a half have ticked over on the camera. Aaron Donoghue with the kick. So are Belturbet going to do it? Grades up 2 years in a row. Last year they won the junior, they also won the league. They lead by a goal in this intermediate final. There's a free to Den, it's not over yet, as Thomas Smith lobs the ball inside. Donald Keoghan, and there's a free in to Den. It was an injury time that then made it in the semi-final, as Aaron Donoghue grabs that one beneath his crossbar, gets it out to Kieran McCaffrey, and McCaffrey for Belturbet. The ball coming across, a free from where the ball landed. It landed in Killian McGuire's arms. It won't be taken out of those. It'll be taken from inside the 45-metre line, and Kieran McCaffrey will give it now to Don McDonald. Belturbet not in any great hurry as the ball is played across to Paul Murphy. Murphy will tap it on for Benny Mulvaney. Mulvaney crossing the halfway line will lay it on now, and Killian McGuire, but there's a free for the foul on Killian McGuire, and it is to Belturbet on the other 45-metre line. Deep into injury time. That moment of magic, shall we say, or shall we call it great opportunism from Jason Riley early in the game. That's the score that separates the sides. Dan McDonald to take the free. Will he try and send this one over for the insurance? It's off the upright. Barry Hyland way back there in the corner to Paddy Gaffney. They play on as the other Highland Paul intercepted in there, but Pat Baker picks it up for Den, and Den come attacking. Ball into Donald Keoghan. Is there still hope for the men from Den as Donald Keoghan makes his way forward? Still Donald Keoghan going. Oh, great interception in there. There goes the final whistle. And Belturbet have done it. The junior last year, the intermediate this year, they move up into senior ranks.
The full-time score in the ladies' football was Monaghan 2-9, East 2-9. And in the junior game, Clare 5-9, Clonford 4-9.
Belturbet celebrating down there. They've captured the intermediate trophy. So now the captain's being called over for the presentation.
And Martin Donohoe from there. There's the two captains, please.
Should I give them for the lassies? Give them for the lassies.
First of all, on behalf of Cavan County Board, I want to congratulate both teams on giving us a hard-fought and excellent game here today. My congratulations goes to Belturbet on taking the intermediate championship here today. I think that everybody accepts it. It's a tremendous achievement for the Belturbet club on winning the junior championship in 1995 and coming along here today and capturing the intermediate championship. Our commiserations goes to Den. Down through the years, Den have been very common for winning the intermediate championship on a few occasions. They did not slide down here today, so a very good finalist, and I know that they will be back again in the near future. On behalf of Cavan County Board, it gives me great pleasure to present the 1996 Intermediate Cup to Rory McCaffrey, captain of the Belturbet Club. It gives me great pleasure to lift this cup on behalf of the Belturbet Vs Football Club. Football has been gaining momentum in Belturbet over the past 4 or 5 years, and long may it continue. There's a lot of people that I want to thank, but I'm only going to thank a few. First of all, I'd like to thank the players, the panel of players, for the time and the effort, the commitment they put in over the last 8 or 9 months. This here is their reward. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Air Motor Work. There's 3 men in Belturbet that made this day possible, and that is our 2 selectors, Vincey McKernan and Sean Martin. And maybe you give this man a cheer. Mr. Football himself, Mark Lawler. I'd like to thank the people of Belturbet for coming here in such numbers. I'm glad we could take a cup home today. Finally, I'd like to pay tribute to a good Den team. They never laid out and we knew they wouldn't. So, 3 cheers for them. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! Let's party! Den captain, Martin Donohoe. Belturbet and a hard sports game. They've done themselves justice from coming junior and senior. And may they continue to lift the senior cup as well. I'd like to thank our management, Paddy McInerney, Barry Kyle, John Brady, Others Wheely, and Tom Reader. I'd also like to thank our players, right from our goalkeeper to the last substitute, our last player on the panel. I'd also like to thank Noel and Cavan on the sponsorship and all the sponsorship in the club. Thank you very much.
Now come to the presentation of the man of the match, and Declan Jordan, our sponsor of the menu, will be making this presentation. And I suppose when it comes to football, when it rains, it pours. So the man of the match today is Rory McCaffrey. So I now call on Declan Jordan to present the man of the match. Sorry, Kieran McCaffrey.
Of course, it's celebration time here in Belturbet, and joining us first is Sean McGuigan, or I suppose they're more locally known as Jack McGuigan, the chairman of the club. A great success for you, first of all.
Oh, it's been a tremendous success. This is a culmination of a lot of effort into the club over the last while, and it's great to see the boys being rewarded for that, you know. Like I remember saying, actually, I was talking to you last year on this thing that I felt, or the club, everybody in the club felt, that if we ever won the junior championship, it would break kind of the yoke of our back and let us free, because we had a lot of kind of talent offer, and we'd be able to go and produce better players for Cavan. Within 12 months we have 5 players in the under-21s team. It's a tremendous thing, and very proud to be down in Turles out there and seeing these lads performing. But I think actually what happened last year was the lads in charge of the team, in Mark and Vincent McKiernan and Sean Martin, decided after we won the junior championship there was much more in this team, and they made a tremendous effort to get into Division 1 football. And once we got into Division 1 football, then that laid the foundation stone for this victory today, because it was very important to us to meet proper teams and to kind of sort of be competing at a high level. They weren't prepared to just accept the fact that they could just play junior football and win the junior championship. They wanted to go for much more than that, you know. So they've really achieved a tremendous success for us, you know. Right.
Well, you're not going to worry it now. Obviously, you'll observe the success, but in the senior ranks now, it will be a little bit stiffer. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Oh yeah, we're third or fourth place in the league, so everything is kind of seems to be nicely poised for our team to kind of get a couple more years to develop, and sort of we're kind of looking forward to kind of other successes in that light coming up. So it's been a culmination of a great deal of effort in the club, you know. Belturbert's one of these clubs that's always a very friendly, homely club, and people for the years have done a tremendous amount of work for the GA in the area, but never really got the recognition. But now over the last while we've kind of pulled things together, and there's a lot of people working in different aspects of the club and doing different things, and just this team are absolutely fabulous, and Mark and the lads have put in so much effort into the whole thing. It's just really brought the whole thing up to a high.
Right. I was trying to rack my brain coming in, and I suppose somebody obviously would have the answer to it, because it's not very often that it happens that a club will win a junior final one year and the intermediate the following year.
I heard some fellas actually saying on Friday Virginia did something in 1950 and 51. They won I think there was no intermediate then, they won junior and senior, and there's a couple of teams have done it I think over the years, not too many, but apart from the two championships, having the league success in the middle of the whole thing was a tremendous record. It's incredible, you know. Right. It's very good.
How many of last year's team were here on show last weekend? Because obviously I wasn't there.
Yeah, well we've actually kind of, some of our older players were away actually from last year. Kind of we talking into this year we might be a little bit short, but some of the younger lads came through tremendously. We've got 2 lads at the minute who are kind of off for taking 12 months out, gone to Australia, and another lad's got a very bad injury, you know. So the 3 of them were kind of out. That was Rocky Hands and young Minogue going off to Australia, and young Ronan Riley has got a very bad injury, so he's missing as well. So it was a tremendous thing for us to come, the lads who are in charge of the team, how they got everybody motivated. The young lads came on to fill their place. So that's what we think we're going to have a great chance next year in senior ranks. We've got these 3 lads coming back who are kind of cornerstones in the past. So that's going to give us nicely poised. There's extra bit of impetus into the club, you know. So it's looking good. Mm-hmm.
Now, we'll be talking to him later, obviously, but I know, and I can recall talking to Jason last year, 12 months ago. I know you mentioned 5 players that are involved with the county teams in different ways, but even from talking to Jason last year, and perhaps about him maybe being a member of the county team in the not too distant future, you know, the situation it almost sounded a little bit dicey then. He's certainly come a long way since.
Oh, it's been Jason. He's something special, you know. He's a special talent. People talk about players or good players now, but Jason Riley is a special talent, you know. And it's very important that in the club here he's looked after and nurtured, and Mark looks after the whole thing and kind of gets a matter of advice, but he's a special talent, and we really know that, you know. And when I was saying 5 players, it wasn't 5 players at different levels, it was 5 players in the under-21s team. We also had lads in under-16s, minors, and of course Jason was kind of on the senior team. That was kind of, you know, it just shows, I think there's about 11 or 12 of the lads in the team are under-21s in our present team, you know. But as for Jason's a one-off. He's a special talent we have, and we're very lucky to have him. It's incredible. His scoring record and feats alone are it's a phenomenal record he has, you know.
So finally, Sean, as chairman of the club, do you have anything to say to the people that were responsible for all of this? And obviously everybody that was there had played some hand active part.
Oh, it's been a tremendous effort, as I mentioned to Mark there, his dedication, and Sean and Vincent McKiernan work along with him, you know. But really, as I was saying earlier on, it's been a combination of we have many years so 1937 was our last division or junior championship win, and over the years in the 40s and the 50s and 60s people have carried on a lot of work into the club, and I'm just everything is just right now with a good young team, and there's a lot of work going on in pitch development at the minute, and we've got a very good sponsor in Hugh Fitch there of Vairn Motorworks, and the lads involved in the working on the pitch are Paddy Riley there and Pat Rudden and Tig McGill. He's done a tremendous amount of work on that. Michael Mahan's organising all the blotto. And we run a golf classic as well now to go and raise funds for all this. We're having a kind of a dual thing. We're trying to keep the success of the team going and trying to do a pitch at the same time. And we run a golf classic there, and Jerry and Angela Riley, they do a lot of work on that. So we're kind of working on different aspects of the thing the whole time and pulling everything together, you know. So it's been a tremendous sort of unleashing of talent, because everybody's there, had been there, just wanted to be activated to get it going, and it's been a big change. So it's really been. But having said all that, only if we have such a crop of young players coming through now, and even underage level now, we have another couple of under 14s thing coming through, under 16s. So we seem to have kind of another maybe 10 years of talent coming through on top of what's here now.
Right. Okay, so I suppose to an extent, and perhaps you mightn't agree with me, you're almost ahead of yourself insofar as that over the last 10 or 15 years, many clubs have opened new grounds, and they've sort of promised on opening day that they were going to win something in the not too distant future, but you're doing it all beforehand.
Well, we're kind of trying to keep the thing going on at the one time, because it's very important that, you know, we're trying to open a ground that will have plenty of facilities in it but it's nothing grand or sort of else. But it's very important that you keep the thing. The team are very important, are the most important aspect of the whole thing. We're very lucky that we're doing both things together. There's an awful lot of enthusiasm in the club when you get the team going very well and you're doing the development. So hopefully now in the next 12 months we'll have kind of things a bit better organised in the pitch way, and the team is coming from strength to strength and should mature at the same time. So hopefully we'll be seeing more of us now after all those lean years. And when I was saying last year that the junior championship was the end of it, a barren area, it is now over, and we're going to just look forward to senior football in Cavan with Belturbet for a long time to come.
Okay, right, Jack, thanks for that.
Thank you.
The man they sometimes we all looking for, Seamus Minogue, of course, you're the treasurer of the club. Great times for Belturbet, and they say success breeds success. It's certainly working so far in your area.
Well, it has, you know. I don't know how I could describe how I personally feel about this last 18 months. Well, not 18 months, about 15 months. We've had three major county titles after probably 50 years of endeavour and no success. I've been a long time associated with this club. I don't like to describe how long I was associated with this club, because I'm trying to sustain the fiction. I'm 40, and if I told you when I was associated first with this club, I think that would be solely dented. Offaigh Gaeilge mar aon leis an chistóir tá gádúilge sí agam agus buin mé ansult as an bhliain seo caite an buchant sa Clifficanis Shusher an blian Chakaitja agus an buchant sa Clifficanis Idamanach an blian Shaw is fada an achar in a row scale mar sin the léirúaging agus beidir san blian Shaw huin by Jane Irecht idir cosagan le heig on Cliffamore sa Clifficanis Shinshire on Conde the Gonóhu. My garbled Irish, I'm sorry about that, but I'm an Irish officer of the club, and it's part of my function to keep people aware of the fact that GAA is an Irish cultural organisation, and the restoration and the use of the Irish language is very much part of the ethos of the association, and it's also very much part of the ethos of the club. What can I say? I can, looking back at all the people who are officers and members of the club way back down through the years who would love to be alive now. A lot of them are dead for this great occasion, and there are a lot of people. I mention one man in particular, and I hope I don't. When you mention certain names, you've often accused, and you often make the mistake of excluding others. But there's one man I would like to mention specifically. He was a very good friend of mine down the years. He was chairman of the club down through the barren years. He was a marvellous supporter of the club. He died in 1992, John Joe Donnell. Now, John Joe was one of the greats, one of the great characters of the game, one of the great men. He probably got more pleasure out of the GAA than some of the great national figures, and probably some of the great even inter-county footballers who won numerous All-Ireland. John Joe got great mileage out of it. Every game he enjoyed to perfection. He took his disappointments, and there were many of them, but he took his victories with so much aplomb and so much satisfaction that they wiped out the memories of the previous ones. Our gesture go on him. Jimmy Gamble, another man who lived in Deanery Street, who lived for the club in his time, never was part of a victorious GA team, but I know that in the last 12 months he's been dancing a tune up in the pearly gate and enthusing in these. Maybe he's partly responsible for it. What can I say about the team itself, the management and the players? To the players themselves, on behalf of my generation, I couldn't express, words would never give me the freedom to express exactly what they've done for the like of me and my generation. They're a great bunch of lads. They were fully disciplined, they were very well trained, and I'd like to also pay a special tribute to the trainers and the management. Belturbet won 3 county titles in the last 12 months, and they won it for the simple reason that they were disciplined and focused. They never lost their focus. Now, last Sunday, for instance, when the game was 2 minutes old, I turned around to Seamus Fitzpatrick and I said, we're going to win this game, because of the impression they gave me from, who was sitting on the sideline, of a focused team. They were focused on playing football, focused on the job in hand, and they weren't going to be diverted. And I think some of the much vaunted managers and professionals who are over county teams, and I need go no further than the All-Ireland final last week, motivated their players with the same essence of discipline that the Belturbet players were motivated with. The result of the All-Ireland might have been different. I hope I've not offended anybody, and I hope I haven't left anybody out, but these are just a few thoughts that are coming to my head on this very joyous occasion. And the club was going from success to success. And also, before I disappear off this programme, I'd like to emphasise what the club has done for the community. Belturbet community are certainly alive here, and they have given it probably the greatest injection of adrenaline that anything else could give. Belturbet won the Tidy Towns competition this year. There are a lot of economic developments going. There's a big 1.2 million project down at the railway station, and this is a community-based project, and a lot of the young players that are on the team and on the panel are down there restoring, which is an integral part of our heritage, the old railway station. It's a unique railway station in the entire GNR complex, and it'll be restored back to its original shape and size, and it'll be a great tourist amenity. And I know this is probably not the right context to be talking about something like that, but the victory of the Rories last Sunday and what they've done in the last 12 months will give the community the courage and the faith in themselves to carry this massive project to its fruition.
Indeed, Seamus. Of course it is part of the conversation, because it's all part of what we are. It all binds in together, and not only that, the cut is back on the urn as well. So listen, you don't have to apologise for anything, and in particular for your brethren, as you say, Ascailga, because it's nice to hear that. We don't always get it. So for that reason, thanks a million for having the chat with us, all right? Indeed, from we spoke this time last year, there's been a lot of talk, and they're not rumours anymore as to where Jason Riley might have been going, and you've been doing the bit. In actual fact, it was very shortly after, I think, from we spoke to you last year, that you got the nod and you appeared in on the county team at the start of the National League and what happened after. But even if it did, you always look back, obviously, to the club, and the club was number one.
Oh yeah, you always go to your club first. See that you try to help them as much as you can. They started you off and that, and that's where your roots are, and only for them you wouldn't be where you are today with the county.
Talk to us now, first of all, for a minute or two about this intermediate final against Den, which apparently was a low-scoring affair. Now, I say that because I wasn't there.
Very low score. No one thought that you'd win in a final with 1-5, scored 5 points. Like it was, I don't think I played in one low other scoring match, but it was never like that for a championship final. I think it's very low scoring. There wasn't much going to loss in it.
In actual fact, it was about, I think, 5 or 6 points less than you had scored yourself in total in the semi-final against Drung before that.
Well, that's true, all right. It's just getting Drung, everything hopped right and everything went well for me. And then yesterday there was balls not just hopping the right way or anything like that. Like getting drunk, everything was sticking to me nearly in that. And it's just where the ball goes in the day. Bit of luck.
Yeah, well, of course, you're going to expect a good, hard, tough match from Den anyway, regardless of the amount of scores.
Oh yeah, we were expecting it very hard actually. So there's a lot of boys sore Monday, so there were even Sunday night. But we knew it was going to be tough, and we had the youth there, so but we weren't just sure whether we could pull it off or not. And then the day I was in it, we pulled it off and got a bit of luck in the day, and that's all you need.
Indeed. Now, I spoke to you again last year, Jason, which is about just a little over a year ago, in fact. Now, you would have played an awful lot of football since, both for the club and the county at different levels, so on and so forth. Do you find it at stages a little bit demanding, or do you find it tiring, or are you well fit to cope with it?
Oh yeah, I find it a lot alright. If you have a bad match or something, you just, with the county or that, if you have a bad match, all you want to do is go back to your club, maybe pick yourself up again. And but when you're at football all year round, it does be very hard to motivate yourself for different big matches and that. But I don't find the big matches too hard to motivate myself. It's the small ones was far harder. So it is the club matches be far harder to motivate yourself more than the county. So you do like to get a rest at the end of the day.
Right. Now, finally, we'll talk for a minute here about this success, and we'll talk about Belturbet, and of course, it must be very much your number one, and it's certainly a great achievement to win a junior title one year, and then the following year to win an intermediate title. What's next?
Well, hopefully a senior title, but we'll play it as the game goes on. But we've done well over the last, after Munch Connacht better the year before last year. A lot of boys were feeling down, and they thought they'd never, like the older members thought they'd never get a championship medal, but the youth was there and they weren't really used to losing because they won underage things and that, and they weren't used to losing at all. And then when we were bet, we didn't really think, it was sore losing alright, but we didn't really think much of it. We said next year we'd win it next year, and so we did. We won it next year, and then we were in the pub that night too, and we were saying it'd be a different kettle of fish next year, but now we won the intermediate now as well, so I think it was handier nearly this year than last year with the intermediate. I think junior is very hard to get out of. Hopefully senior next year, and we'd be pleased with that.
Right. There was just one goal in the match, and it was you that got it. Could you describe it for us?
Don put in a free kick, so he did, and you could see it coming off the post before it even hit the post, and I just went round my man and knew I was going to land and just throwed it in. Couldn't have went any better, thank God.
You didn't like to have to do it, but you did it.
It's just pure instinct. You don't like to do it, but you have to do it. So it is.
All right, well, we look forward to indeed keeping an eye on you over the coming year, Jason, and indeed Belturbet, we wish them every success, and I hope you enjoy this sweet victory, and a sweet victory it was for you, and thanks a million for talking to us.
Thanks very much, Michael. Thank you.
Now then, this is of course Kieran McCaffrey, the captain of the side. Kieran, tell us about your display overall. It was so good apparently that you were the best player on show.
Well, just seemed to get man of the match of it, but I didn't feel that it was me that changed the match. I think that it was a team performance, that the 15 players had a job to do and they went out and they done it, and I don't claim to be the best player that we had, but it was, of any game that I've ever played in, I think that was a team performance. It was a team that won the game.
But how cautious were Belturbet going into this final?
Well, I think we had a good idea it was going to be a hard fought game, just the game that was played on Sunday. But we didn't go to Cuthill to try and play a nice fancy football. All we wanted to do was win the cup, and that's what we done. That was basically all we went to do.
Could you take us through the championship? Would that be asking too much of you to start off at the beginning?
You probably would be asking too much. The beginning of the championship was a nightmare. It was a nightmare for us. We played up in Butler's Bridge, and I don't think we haven't played as badly as in that match. I'd say in years. But having said that, it's just not a knockout basis now, which we can thank that. But we improved as time went on. We improved in the championship, and booked our place in the quarter-finals. We won our next, I think it was 2 matches, was it? And I think we were improving all the time. But the match against Cootehill, I feel, was a very important match. We were playing up in Killygarry, and I think it was about the most nervous of any matches I was for that match. But we came out of it okay. We played well and we won. And then against Strong, we didn't play well. We had a few players played well and won the match for us against Strong in the semi-final. And I feel in the final that everybody played well, and that's what brought the cup back to Belturbet.
I specifically recall that match against Cootehill, and there was very little in it for long periods, but then you seemed to finish the much stronger side in the end. And I think it would be true to say that it was at that stage that you really picked yourselves up and went the distance, as to say.
Yeah, I felt even before that game that was the game that we had to win. I felt that we could have been beaten that day, even before we started. And I felt that if we did get over that game, that we would win the championship. But it's easy saying that now, but that is honestly the way I felt that time.
Indeed.
And that's what we done.
Yeah, well, now I can remember again going back to last year, and I know you keep looking forward once you win cups like this, but I remember last year that, in fact, leaving this town and heading off out to Templeport, because they were then the intermediate championship, so the journey was cut a little bit shorter for the cup this year.
That's right, yeah. There was lots of rumours going around the town last year that the cup would be only coming back up the road. It wouldn't be going back as far as Cavan. But people were just talking, and I don't know if they honestly believe it. But as the year progressed, I think people began to believe that we could win the cup. And as I say, getting to the semi-final, and that I honestly believe that we could, and we had the team to do it. And I think the lads rose to the occasion, and that's the difference. That was the difference in the two sides. I thought that we were the hungrier team Sunday, and fully deserved to win it. Over, even though we had a bad start to it, that was, we'd one bad game in the whole championship, and lucky enough, years ago you'd pay for it, you'd be out of the championship. But with the league basis now, I think it's a fairer system. It gives teams a chance to get settled in, and
so anyway, apart from winning the intermediate final, which you have deservedly done, that's sweet in its own right, but I'm sure there's something also at the back of your mind insofar as that you'll be taking part in the senior championship next year.
Yeah, well, that's the ultimate goal. Like a few years ago we were just playing junior football, and that has all changed now, and I think that the people are a bit more optimistic in this town that we can go, and in a few years, maybe some years ahead, we can go and win a senior championship. The talent's there. I feel that the young players are exceptionally good, and I see no reason why we can't go on and win a senior title. And I'm not going to put a limit on it, but in the next 5, something like that, years.
Right. Now, finally, as captain of the side, Kieran McCaffrey, is there anything, because the look back at this, sometimes they say, well, he never said anything about us. Is there anything you'd like to say to these people? I mean, you are almost in charge to an extent, to all these players that you had under you.
Yeah, well, there was 15 players playing on Sunday, but 15 players will win no championship. I feel that there was a panel of players there training the whole year, and there was 20, 25, up to 30 players, and every player participated in winning the championship. 15 players will win nothing. We had a few players left at the start of the year, a few good players, people said, but then the players that come in their place were equally as good, and they rose to the occasion. But I'd like to emphasise that it is a panel of players that will win it. You'll win nothing with 15 players. There was 15 players playing Sunday, but I think everyone made a contribution over the season, and I think that's what it takes to win something like that.
All right, then on that note, listen, Kieran, congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
And thanks for having the chat of it. He is, of course, the captain. The cup is not here. That doesn't mean that it's missing. It's on tour at the moment. It's only around the bar. Kieran McCaffrey, thanks for that. All right. Aaron Donoghue, of course, was the goalkeeper. Were you tested at all in this final, Aaron?
No, well, not really. Not that I can remember anyway at the time. There was one incident when the ball came in. It was in the fourth half, I think it was. Came in over Rory, I think, and it just came out and just more or less tried to smother it. But no, apart from that, nothing really. No, the backs, it was just like a day that the backs were on top most of the day, so they done their job, and which was keeping the forwards at bay and keeping an eye on me, I suppose. So no, not really. It's the way I like it anyway. You know, not tested.
But I don't think it was always like that. I'm sure you were tested during the championship. Was there any stage that you felt that maybe Belturbet might have been gone out of it?
Mark's he's a hard boy to get by at times, Mark. Now, so there was, I suppose there was the odd time, yeah. But like I said, it's a job I have, and that's what I'm there for, you know. So there's no real specific saves I can remember. But like I said, you're there for, that's my job, and I'll do that, no problem, you know.
It's been a hectic year also for you, Justin, like Jason. It's been a very busy year for you.
Non-stop, kind of, I suppose, with Cavan, senior pan, and then we got to a final under 21 final and lost it then, which was, you know, it's very, very hard losing an Ireland final, you know, especially when you've seen the passion of the Cavan crowd that came down with us, you know. Like, when we remember coming out from the tunnel when we were heading out onto the field, and it was just like a brick wall hitting you, the crowd, everything. It was blue and white, you know. So it was just very unfortunate for the Cavan people that travelled so far that we didn't deliver the goods. But like I said, we'll be there again next year. Myself, Jason, Paul, Connor, we're all on the ridge again next year. So I'm sure we'll give it a good rap then as well. You know, it's just unfortunate we didn't bring home the silverware, but we'll be there next year, hopefully.
Were you conscious or a little bit afraid of that defeat in that All-Ireland final, that it might affect your performance for your club in the remainder of the championship in any way?
Well, actually, if you had it even, you can talk to Brian, which you probably will later on, and Paul and Jason and Connor, and we said afterwards the best thing we could do now to raise our game is to go on and win an intermediate final. We still had playoffs to play against Killigary, but the spirit and the morale of the team, we knew exactly what we were doing. It was just like more or less like a pact we made, and as it was some compensation for the defeat in that Ireland final by bringing home the intermediate cup. So luckily all went right in the day, and we brought her back to Belturbet, you know.
Indeed. Now, before you brought it back, when the match was over, what did you do after Sunday evening? What happened?
Afterwards, we headed back to one of the pubs down Coot Hill, and we had a drink there and headed back to Declan's place, to Meadowview, because well, we said that we would head back if we did win. We'd head back to Meadowview, and we got fed well there, so we did, and eventually made our way back to town, back to Belturbet, where we were greeted with some applause. Now, so it was very, very good, you know. But like even at that, winning the junior championship was still fresh in our minds, you know. So it was an added bonus to come up back to back and win the intermediate championship, you know. Especially for the people of Belturbet, which once again very passionate people about their football as well, you know. So it was just great to land it. Very, very good. Everybody very, very pleased. So we enjoyed Sunday night, and yesterday as well. It went on for a while yesterday, and indeed it's going on again now as well. So I don't know when to stop, but I hope Saturday lands soon.
Yeah, it usually lasts a week, I think, anyway, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
All right then, Aaron, listen, well done, congrats, and thanks indeed for chatting.
Thank you.
I'm trying to figure out, Mark, you know, as a player and a player manager, how does it work out for you? Now, I may have asked you this before, and it seems to be working very well for you.
Funny enough, it didn't make any difference to me last year at all. I took into it, and I wasn't intending to play and manage at the same time. The way the thing worked out in the year went on, with a few injuries and different things, I ended up playing after 4 or 5 matches and playing full back, and I'm there since. But last Sunday, for the first time nearly, I felt a bit of pressure on me. For for the simple reason was that Donald Kyogan was playing full forward, and I was trying to get the boys psyched up for the match themselves, and I had to try and psych myself up for the mark Donald Kyogan. So last Sunday, I think, was the first day that I found really player manager being real pressure on me.
But you must have done fairly well, because I think he scored a point, was it?
He scored 2 points from play, yeah, and a point from a free. But I knew that if we held him, I didn't honestly think that the game would be so low scoring. If anyone had told me on Sunday morning we'd only score 1-5, I said we'd be betting the final, you know. But we scored 1-5 and we won the match. But it was a backs day. The backs played well on both sides, and we put them under a bit of pressure, and they kicked wide all right. But we hit the woodwork 3 times and we missed the penalty, and we still won by a goal. So I think the best team won on the day.
So you put it down to a lot of tight marking, perhaps, by both parties.
Well, I honestly believe the 15 Belturbet fellas, no matter who you talk to, there wasn't one fella hiding on Sunday. Every fella, he didn't go there to hide, he didn't go there, he stood up, we stood up and we were counted, and won the 15, and that's what it took. It took every single one of us to win that match on Sunday. There was no such thing as one man playing. You know, the matches we played, Aaron Donoghue saved us a couple of times against Coothill. Kieran McCaffrey had a great game against Coothill. But on Sunday was the first day that actually 15 men played to their full potential.
So what you're saying is here that Belturbet started this championship with a bit of a struggle and improved with time, perhaps?
We started off against Dumoulin, and we were kind of in a hiding and nothing there, because Dumoulin wasn't going well and they weren't playing well, and we were playing well and we were going well in Division 1, and they were struggling in Division 2. And a lot of our lads kind of took it too lately, and we paid the price. Actually, if it had been knockout basis, we were gone out of the championship. But we learned from that, and it didn't happen again. We didn't take any team lately after that. We played Killygarry twice. We bet them by 20 points the first day, and we had to play them again in the playoff. And we didn't take them lately the next day, we bet them by 14 points. So we got our act together a bit after the Dumoulin match. We tasted defeat and we didn't want to taste it again.
As a player manager, if you felt obviously that you weren't up to scratch yourself, would you feel obviously you would have the power to shift yourself?
Well, the first thing I said to Sean Martin and Vincey McKernan last year was that never leave me on if you think you shouldn't be on. You know, that if I didn't take myself off, or if I didn't move myself, or if I thought there was something changed me, mate, don't be one bit afraid. Treat me the same as any other player, and you know, if I'm not doing the business, take me off. There's absolutely no problem with that, you know. But we made a change last year against Kildare, and I made it myself. I thought I wasn't doing well enough at full back, and I made a switch, and it very nearly cost us the championship last year. Kildare came back and through with us, and we had to struggle after that to stay in the championship.
Right. What does it mean for an area like this that's obviously growing in many other areas in different ways and coming very much on the map, if you like? That's not to say that it wasn't there before, but there's been a lot of progression around Belturbet, and with a sweet victory like this, obviously it can only help the situation.
Well, it helps young players as well. Young people watching us coming home there yesterday, and we got a tremendous welcome home yesterday, and I must say the whole people in town were out to cheer us on, and the band were out and marched us down the town, and we had a great welcome home. And it has to help the younger players to say that they want to be part of that in another couple of years when they get old enough. And it's only a matter of 3 or 4 years before the under-14s are starting to look for a place in the senior team. So a win like that helps the town, and it helps everyone around. And we've been a team. I'm 17 years playing now with Belturbet, and for 15 of them 17 years, Belturbet were a soft touch in a final, you know. And we wanted to change that, and against Den in an intermediate final, that was the time to change it big time. That was the time we stood up and we said the day of Belturbet being a soft touch in the final was gone, and thank God it came off yesterday. We did the business.
And though you're not going to retire yet, you were still planning in the back of your mind that you'd finish on a high note.
I was contemplating on retiring after the drunk match. I was very tired at stage 2 of the drunk match, and I said it's getting near the end of the time, and I said that the match against Den could be my last championship match with Belturbet. But there's a little bit of unfinished business now. I think that last year when we won the championship, I thought it was vitally important that we went on to get up into Division 1 to be serious contenders for the intermediate championship this year. And now people are saying it doesn't matter what happens this year after winning the intermediate championship, but as manager, there's an awful lot of big games left. And if we get into the playoffs of the senior league this year, we will be competing with teams that we have to beat next year if we want to play. If we want to be serious contenders for the senior championship. And I believe that there's not a club in the county that has 5 players on the All-Ireland under-21 panel. They got to the All-Ireland final, and why should we try and play second fiddle to anyone else? I think that we're there to be counted, and we'll. If I'm not guaranteeing anybody we'll win the championship next year, but if we do well, if we finish the league well and get into the playoffs and put a good account of ourselves, we'll be hard bet next year. We'll go out next year to be hard bet in the senior championship.
It's a little bit like building a wall, really.
It is, yeah. Thing goes from strength to strength. You know, last year I said after the junior championship it didn't matter what happened in the league. You know, but once we got a few days over us and we started thinking about it. I said it's vitally important now that we get up to Division 1, you know, because if we get up to Division 1, we will be hard to beat in the intermediate championship. So now I'm saying that if we get into the playoffs of the senior league, Division 1 league, we'll be playing teams like Belturbet, Mulhorn or Cavan in the semi-final and final, and that is a good yardstick to measure what we're going to do next year, you know. If we put up a good show again in a serious competition, that'll be in December, whenever it is, it'll give us a good measure of how much work we have to do next January, February and March to be serious contenders for the senior championship next year.
And might I say this county, and indeed many another county, need clubs like you.
They do, yeah. The thing goes around an awful lot. Going to bet Corla in the junior final in '82. I think the score was 3 points to 1 or 1-3 to 1-1, something very small like that. Brown went on to win 3 or 4 senior championships after that. I think Belturbet will not be very long until we'd be one of the kingpins of this county in clubs in the senior championship, and it's just a matter of keeping our heads and keeping our feet on the ground and getting on with the job and taking one game at a time.
Well, certainly, Mark Lawler, you're well on course. Listen, thanks a million for talking to us.
Yeah, I just want to thank all the players, all the panel. We actually lost a few players this year, lads emigrated and that, but we lost one of the best players, and nobody has seen him yet in this county. Nobody recognises him. But Jason is probably our top marksman, the way he's scoring at the minute. But we have a fella that scored 8 points against Belturbet up in Belturbet. He scored 6 points against Kingscourt, and he was scoring that before he got injured in the 4th round of the championship against Drumlee this year, and that's Ronan Riley. And I really want to see the likes of Ronan Riley playing in a senior championship final and showing the people of the county and the people of Belturbet how good that fella really is. I think he has a brilliant talent, and I hope that he got injured last year as well and he missed out on the whole championship. He just got injured at the start of the championship. He got injured again this year. He was going to see a specialist today and he'll probably have to have an operation on his knee, but I hope that by the time we're playing senior championship next year that he will be one of the men that will help us to either win it or give it a good rattle.
Okay, nice touch, Mark, well done.
Thank you.
Back to the celebrations, and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks very much, Michael.
Well, certainly so, Pádraig McConnell. It may have taken a big number of years for Belturbet to break the hoodoo, if you like.
It is right, yes.
But certainly when they did it in style.
In style. So last year, like, they waited maybe 40 years to win the junior championship last year. This year, like, people never thought of Belturbet winning maybe 2 championships back to back. They hadn't a hope at all. People never thought they'd win this. We have belief in ourselves that we could win the intermediate championship. And we went out and we trained hard the whole year round. And we showed people that we could do it. And we done it. That was it. We won it. Maybe next year, senior championship football next year, we don't intend maybe to win it, but we hope to be there and thereabouts, maybe in the semi-finals, thereabouts. We can. And that's it.
Was this intermediate final, was it a tough match, would you have thought?
It was a very tough match. Both teams were physically matched, it were. From the goalkeeper to goalkeeper, it was. We had in our heads, we had, like, the Belturbet team just were there, as it were, trained hard all year, and they were there physically minded to then 5 years ago maybe, then at Belturbet in the Media Championship, we were new to that championships. We just got there and we didn't realise we were in a championship final. This year we were more elevated to that championships. We wanted to win this championship, so we did, and we done as we did, because we were more physically minded, trained hard, and more well equipped to win this game. And it proved in the day that we done as we did.
Is it true to say that from one year to another the players or clubs seem to train harder and harder and harder, or is it much the one pace?
Well, Belturbet, we train starting January, so we do, and we train the whole year round, so we do. We have Mark trainers, so we have Mark and all our team managers, we have trainers, so we have. We train all year round, so we do. We pick up the pace maybe during the league. When the league starts, we pick up the pace more. We start off with a bit of light training, ball work. Ground conditions is not great, so it's not. So we can't really do much sprinting or anything like that. But when the grounds get harder and mid of the league, we pick up our training, so we do, and we start from there on. That's it. It's into training. That's it. We do push. Mark pushes us to the last, and he can push us to the last. Even up to the last training session before even this championship final, we were pushed to the last. And we done a bit. That was it.
It's all worth it, obviously, in the end.
Oh, it is. It is worth it. It is nice to go home when you're tired, and even myself, I wasn't playing on the day as I was, and I wish I was. But I'm part of the panel. It's all a panel player, so it is. And going home with take a cramp in the back of your legs, and pain in the back of your legs after sprints and more sprints. But it's worth it, so it is. And even today, and I'm glad to say it is worth it, so it is.
Well, all I can say is well done to you, and I'm sure you'll be looking forward now to be taking part in the Senior Championship.
Definitely. So next year, Senior Championship, it's the first time, actually it's the first time Belturbet even we've won the Senior Championship. We've been history in Belturbet town, so hopefully we can make history again maybe next year, maybe getting to the final of the Senior Championship. We have new players. We have Ronan Minogue coming back from New York, Gordon Hand coming back, so we have a great panel of players next year. So hopefully, with that panel of players and what we have at the moment, we can do something so we can.
Time will tell. Well done, Pádraig. Thanks, John. Right, okay, now let's talk to Liam McCabe. Liam, of course, is Secretary of the Minor Board in Cavan, or Folk Cushion and Manure, I think is a more fancy way to say it in more modern times. But also very much Belturbet, of course, to the backbone as well. It's been a great couple of years for them. A lot of hard work going into it, apparently.
Oh, it has, Michael, yeah. The last 12 months we've won 3 trophies. I mean, can't ask for any more than that. We've been in 3 finals and won the 3 of them, and it's just a great time for the club. It really is.
Moving up and into senior ranks, is that a first for Belturbet, do we know?
Well, I think it is, Michael, yeah. We've played in senior with Red Hills as Anna. Of course, we won the championship in 73, and then we were Anna for a couple of years, and the break came again. We went back to Belturbet, and they went back to Red Hills. But it's the first time I believe that Belturbet ever played or will play in senior championship.
Right.
And we're looking forward to it.
I can well imagine. Now, apparently this was a very low-scoring final, this intermediate, but who cares when you're on the winning side?
Well, yes, it doesn't matter. Once we have the cup here, which we have, that's what it's all about. I'd say if somebody told Dan last week if Belturbet scored 1-5, they reckon they'd have won it, you know, and probably we'd reckon they'd have won it as well, but that's the way it goes. We don't mind whether it's low scoring or high scoring. We have the trophy, and deservedly so.
It's good for the young and not so young.
Well, it is, yeah. There's a couple of old fellas. Well, they're not really old on the team, and there's a couple of them talking about retiring. The full forward now, I believe, he's talking about retiring, but he's young yet. He should give it another year or two, and yeah, you have to have a mixture of young and old to win anything.
Mm-hmm. And it's also good, if not even better, for the younger players. By that I mean the juvenile players coming along. It's a good example for them.
Oh, it's a great example for them. And you must remember as well that we've won an under-14 title this year. So, they have something themselves. They won something themselves, and then they can go last Sunday and see their senior counterparts winning the trophy as well. So, the future looks very rosy.
They call that in some areas the crest of a wave.
Yes, it is the crest of a wave, because you follow an example that you see, and for years we've been following a bad example. We've seen teams in finals and getting beaten and coming home defeated. But now it's the opposite. So hopefully the future will be bright.
Okay, then Liam, on that note, listen, thanks.
Thank you,
Michael. All right?
Thank you.
There's always a great buzz after success, Jim, isn't there?
Oh, there is, and it's great to see it, and we waited so long for this, especially the likes of me and all the older players that never won anything. I wouldn't like to tell you all the finals that I played in and never won anything, and it gives me great satisfaction now to see what has been happening today. And the thing about when I always think of what's happening today, I have this attitude. I always think of what happened in the past and all the personalities and all the people that would have loved to seen give the right arm to win anything. I'm thinking way back now in when there was no team in Belturbet and Father Morris came to the town, and he actually set the club, and what has been happening today, we're getting rewards from what he done. And also the like of Bob Gorby, Paddy Brady, and our present selector, Vincent McKern's father. He was a great chairman. All he wanted was football and keep the team going. We hadn't that great of teams, but still we had fun, you know.
So I suppose one of the things that you must bear in mind, particularly on occasions like this, and that is that it took people like those to make people like these, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's great to see all the youngsters now at the present time, and the one thing that strikes me about this team is that last Sunday, we're not talking about the football, they won the battle. We were never renowned for standing up, but we stood up last Sunday, and whatever we got, we give back 1.5 times, or maybe 2 times. That's what actually won the battle for. We're not talking about the scores or anything else. That was the one great thing I thought about Belturbet last Sunday.
So in general, they give good measures in Belturbet?
Yeah, we never were renowned for if 1 or 2 of them got a wallop, they went home for their dinner, went home to mammy. But this team, this is the great thing about this team. They won't take anything from anybody, which is great. I was for years, and I know myself, that if the opposition was in the dressing room, they say, "Oh, hit these boys and they're going home," and that was true. But that doesn't apply today. That's the difference in the teams there was in the past.
Right. Now, may I also say, of course, that you had a special link with many of these players?
Yeah, well, I don't know. There's an awful lot. I always think a team and a club is like a house. Somebody builds the foundation, somebody puts the wire, and somebody puts the roof on it, and that's why I'd always like to remember the people that went past, because I know people that give the right arm for to win a championship, or a championship come to the town. And you know, I've seen so many sad Mondays that I used to I'd love to win in and hide someplace, but I can go up the street now and go into any town, into Ballyconnell, Milltown, Corla, and I also go into Ballinamore, but that wasn't so much involved with us. But it's great, and hold your head up, and you don't have to say a word.
So therefore, this recent success, you have now more in Belturbet than ever before. You have the old railway coming back, the cot on the Erne is there, the fishing facilities, and all that goes along with it, and of course throwing the football for good measure.
Yeah, well, people say when we won the junior championship last year, set everything going, and maybe it is kind of true, and it's good to see the town coming up, because since the bridge went across at Acha Lane or was blown up, it wasn't the same, but things are starting to look up, and they're supposed to now be putting a bypass up there, and maybe everything will happen after this, and maybe it was the football that started.
Jim McElgone, listen Jim, thanks for talking to us.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out why you're that bit more popular than everybody else there. They were all mad anxious to get you up, Ollie.
Well, I don't know about that now. I'm very shy.
You're shy but willing.
Really shy but willing,
So there you are. You've been around, if you don't mind me saying so, for quite a number of years, of course, with the club here.
33 years and no wet time.
No wet time?
Yeah, you know what that means, huh?
I do indeed.
Every year from 63 on. No wet time, every year, good and bad. Bad days and good days. So.
What did you come in as, a novice? What did you come in at first in 1963?
That last speaker there that Jim McElgunn invited me, I mean, you come at the time, and he invited me up to the club. He invited me up to the club and got in the committee that time and got a job. Father Morris then, you knew him, Father Morris, and he was chairman of the school board, and we kept going from there. So I represent the school board for years, with 7 or 8 chairmen, minor board too, and not much senior, a few times, you know. So I took a big part with the juvenile committee. Sean McGuigan was one of the men, was school by that time, and our present chairman, and went from strength to strength.
But you yourself threw a hand in everything, apparently?
Yes, the two had a hand of it, yes.
Did you play any then at all?
No,
because I don't know.
No, I never played. No, I'm not in a position to play. I'm not in a position to play.
Even when you were younger?
No, I was handicapped, and I didn't. Took a great interest in it. So.
But of course, the interest is every bit as important in its own right, and I wasn't aware of that. But obviously, the interest is every bit as important to be there, because if you had no supporters, it could be a very lonely place. Now then, what about the games themselves and the matches that you attend, and particularly finals in the last few years? Do you get worked up at games? Do you get a little bit, jittery inside?
No. Not this. Wouldn't get excited now. If you're going to win, you're going to win. If you're going to lose.
What are these lads like to work along with? And tell us the truth.
Great bunch of fellas. Chairman, secretary, and all the players, the captain, and all great guys to work with. Did you say I'm contrary, but I take all that. How would you say it?
And what would you be giving out about?
Well, bringing home the jerseys, and I do look after the jerseys too. And
so if one goes missing, you create a bit of a racket.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
And does that happen an odd time at times?
Well, not so much lately. The jerseys got dear.
Yeah. And you stamp all that out, of course.
Yes. So.
How will these people do now in the senior ranks? It's a bit of a step for them.
I think they'll do well now.
Do you think so?
No, they've nothing to lose. They've nothing to lose. The one the intermediate, and it's a good step up,
Tell us you look after the club rooms as well. What does that mean? The whitewash and the paint and the windows?
The key. Taps running and all, and walk out and...
the last man leaving at night.
Yeah, the last man leaving at night,
And the first there leaving.
Leaving towels behind them, and I do bring the towels home with them. I don't look for the owners. Good towels,
You'll hardly find too many £20 notes or wallets lying around.
No, don't find any of them now. That's the only mistake that.
You gather them up.
No.
So you tell me you genuinely do not sing?
No, I don't sing. No.
Could you tell us any little funny story, a funny incident that happened down through those 33 years, since 1963?
God, I couldn't tell you now. But I told the boys the year here that two of our players went away, and we won a few matches in the beginning, and we done it out them. And I told the boys that we were short nobody all year. There was 15 players, and there was too much fuss about people going away and all like this. And I said we were short nobody. So that our manager and selector said I was telling the truth. So we got to the top of the year, and
But you never told lies in your life?
Huh?
You never told lies in your life?
Well, so it's I don't know what.
After many lean years, something like this must be great for somebody like yourself, is it?
Well, it's great to see it anyway,
You don't get too excited, do you?
No, not too bad now. I have too many carrying in the house to do. Yes. I think I'll be finished now.
All right.
Thanks very much, Michael.
Well, indeed, and the difference in winning and losing is the same as that, almost of day and night, and I'm sure that you're lucky you haven't felt that in the last 2 years, Barry Lawler.
No, I have to say we had a great run now for last 3 years really. We lost one final, and after that it's been all winning since. So great to be involved with the club and winning the junior, then winning the intermediate and winning Division 2 league, and first time senior and ever for the club to get up to senior ranks is a great achievement.
Well, of course, it doesn't come overnight, and obviously it took a good few years, you know, and in particularly, I suppose, in the last 10 or 12 years. But people like Jim that we spoke to there a little bit earlier on that were involved with many of you as juveniles.
Oh, that certainly is. The way back years ago, like 6 or 7 years ago, they took the bull by the horns and they said they're going to have to do a bit of serious training, and got the right men on their underage teams, under 12s, under 14s, under 16s, and we were lucky enough that we had a good run in that grade, and came on, and 9 or 10 of them team today that won the championship there was one under 14, under 16 and minors in the semi-final of the minor. They were betting the semi-final of the minor, but they were winning the whole way up, and it was a great help to them to be on a winning team.
Now then, you were playing at full forward, you scored a point, you scored a few since, I would have thought.
Oh yeah, they drank a few since too. It was I got a point at a good time. That Den were doing a lot of pressing at the time, and they kicked a few bad wides, and the ball seemed to come up, and I got it from Jason, and I was out in the sideline and over the bar. It was probably one of the best points I ever scored, but it came at a good time, and it's kind of settled Belturbet, and then kind of, I'd say they hung their heads a wee bit after that, after them pressing for so long, you know, and not getting anything, 3 or 4 bad wides. So I was happy with my own performance now with the getting a point at the crucial time.
It was to an extent a sweet revenge for you, because I think Den beat you in 90, was it?
Oh, he beat us in 90, 6 years ago, yeah. It's the day after Mark got married, so I remember that. But we were well outplayed that day by Den. It was a good performance by Den on the day. They played well. Belturbet just didn't get the breaks on the day, but they run away easy winners in the end. But thankfully, we got revenge there yesterday, Sunday, so it was great.
All right then, Barry, well done and congrats. Well
Thank you very much.
We don't have time anymore for those sort of things. Anyway, you know, getting to a final, and indeed sometimes not even getting into a final, can be a costly business. So I suppose for that reason, a little bit of sponsorship and how you look after the team goes a long way. This, of course, for those that may not know, is of course Hugh Fitzpatrick. So Hugh, you're, I'm sure, delighted to be associated with them.
Yes, I was delighted to get the opportunity of being asked to do sponsorship, and particularly now at the end of the year that they have come through and won this final for second time. Took the junior last year, and intermediate. I think it was a tremendous team effort. There was days when leading up to the final when maybe you could rely on those 1 or 2 or 3 captain, but I think in this particular final it was a 15-man effort. Everybody done their bit, and I think it's a Belturbet team that has showed and give proud to everybody associated with it, and I think we'll go on and do more in the future. And as a sponsor, I'm glad to say that we're involved with them for the next 2 or 3 years, and hopefully after that. In the past, I wasn't a great footballer, but I played a bit with Belturbet, and I saw a lot of very, very good Belturbet teams playing over the years, and always got to finals, and on the day they just, for some reason or other, didn't come through. But I think this is a tremendous young team, and show the grit that it needs to come through on the day of a final. And if they keep together, and I do believe they will, that they will have a senior championship under them in 2 or 3 years' time, and I hope I'm still associated with them.
And I'm sure you will. Now, you claim to say that you weren't perhaps the great footballer that you might have liked to have been. Does that mean that you weren't as good a man as your father, who captained the side in, was it 1937?
Yeah, well, they say he was anyway. I can only go what I heard. You know, he was a lot bigger man than I was, and things was, I suppose, it was strength and physical, a lot of physical football then, and he had the power and strength. But no, I never was talent. I had brothers, all right, us and Seamus that played. Would have been much better then. I went off to Canada for a few years, midway, so I was away for a while. But in answer to your question, Annie, no, I wasn't a great footballer, but I do believe these young fellas now, there is definitely a senior if they stick together, and hopefully they will stick together, and under the leadership of Mark Lawler, that has put in a tremendous, I don't want to single out any particular one fella, but I think Mark is a real leader and has shown them, and if he sticks with them, they will have a senior final within a couple of years' time.
You're involved in the motor business, is it?
Involved in the motor business, yeah.
Can you tell us a wee bit about that?
Well, it's a bit of a different business naturally to football. It's a business, and again, it's something that I started off my time at Tractor Motors in 62, 63. Went to Canada in 65. Came home and set up in Belturbet, my own local town, and things just went well. And with the support of all our good Belturbet town and the surrounding areas, Drumlane, the whole lot, and we just went, and it grew and processed into Cavan, and we've been very fortunate. We got a good agency in Toyota, and we've been very fortunate to be with them.
Right.
Like Belturbet, the Rory O'Moores, a winning team. Winning team.
Right, yeah. Well, fair play to you, and indeed people like you in general, because people that get so much from people in the area and indeed outside, as you rightly say, it's nice to see people like yourself putting it back in from a different angle.
Yeah, well, it was nice to get the opportunity, sure, and I think these lads deserve, and I think that they should get all the support, because there is not. It's not a money game. Nobody, there's nobody making money out of it, and some of these fellas putting in, as all clubs do, puts in a tremendous effort, of time and commitment. And unless you're prepared to give time and commitment these days, the way it's gone, you just won't be there. Full stop. And for that reason, I think any few pound that I can give that will help, we will give it in welcome.
All right, thank you. In farming terms, of course, they call that sowing and reaping, so it doesn't go astray. Listen, thanks a million for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
First of all, I would have to say, Sean Martin, how the time flies. It hardly seems like 12 months ago from we spoke before, under, I suppose, different circumstances, one would say.
Different circumstances, Michael, but very similar at the same time. We were the curtain raiser that day for a double header. That was when we won our junior championship against Knockbride last year, and my own old club, Templeport, were happily won the intermediate championship that day. So it was one of our twin ambitions this year. Was first of all, when the Rorys came through from the second division, that they would consolidate their position in the first division and have senior league football for the club for this year, and that happily have secured that situation. And then the second objective was to win the intermediate championship, and happily everything turned out all right on the day.
Right, that's grand, that's fine, all of that is grand, but if you look at it and look back down through the years, that unfortunately, for whatever reason, a lot of the teams and a lot of the clubs, and I'm not talking about Templeport or indeed Belturbet, but a lot of them, when they win the junior and the intermediate, we sort of seem to they go back a little bit, they slip back a bit, they don't create the big impression at senior level that the county really badly needs. We're sort of clinging on to the same 4 or 5 year in, year out.
Well, hopefully Belturbet Rory O'Moores can be the club that'll be the exception that'll prove the rule. They have a panel of very good young players. They're very committed players, and I really do believe that the limit of what they can achieve will be determined by their own ambition, whatever they want. We had 4 of the present panel on the county under-21s in Thurles for the All-Ireland final. We had another Conor Walsh, who didn't actually play on the team, was on the panel, and another Ronan Riley, who was sadly injured. Unfortunately, that was the same last year. We spoke about that situation. Ronan is one of our finer forwards, and it's a great boost for the club coming into senior football. We go into senior football next season, and we have Rocky Hands and Ronan Minogue, who are away at the moment. We wish them well where they are, and Ronan Minogue, who has suffered the misfortune of having this cruciate ligament difficulty, but hopefully that'll be all right for the new year, and we're looking forward to the coming years with great confidence and determination. This bunch of fellas are not satisfied with what they have achieved, and it's their ambition to contest and indeed win a senior final, and if they continue to give the same commitment that they have done, I firmly believe that it's within their grasp.
And they've shown that already last year, starting off.
Yes, they have been. Mark now has had them from underage level, and they have great commitment to the club, to themselves, and a very loyal band of supporters who follow the Rories, and it has been very satisfying to date. They're a very good group of fellas to work with, and I'm glad to be able to say that the success that they have achieved to date has not changed or spoiled them in any way, and their determination and their ambition seems to go on undiluted, and I think these boys have their eyes firmly fixed on bigger prizes hopefully to come.
Well, I'm sure that many a club across the county will be delighted and welcome a club like Belturbet that has made such a progression in a short time, I suppose you could say, to welcome them on board with the senior clubs in the championship.
Yes, we have played a few of the big guns this year in the league. We've played them all, in fact, and we have been well received everywhere they have gone, and that has been an encouraging feature for a club coming from junior and with younger players of the type that we have mentioned.
All right then, Sean, we'll leave it at that. Thanks a million, well done.
Okay.
Now then, we've just one or two more to go, and indeed our second last for at least for the time being. Maybe we'll be back next year with the senior Paul Murphy. You'd never know. You're playing centre half where?
Centre half back.
Centre half back. Yeah. And you played in the All Ireland under 21 final. In what position? It just doesn't come to mind.
Right corner back.
Corner back. That was a bit of a shock for you, was it? Not playing there, but losing out.
Well, it was very disappointing. When we were going into that final, I felt very confident that we could beat Kerry, because I thought we had a really strong team, and to lose, we kind of lost it the last couple of minutes in extra time, so it was really disappointing.
Okay, enough of that. You pick yourselves up anyway and you're back and you have success under your belt, and it's not bad. In, as many people describe it, as the mouth of Christmas.
Pardon?
You have success underneath your belt as we approach Christmas.
That's right, yeah. It leaves us in a good way, because we were just talking about it before this intermediate final, that if we could pull this off, that it'd leave us in a good way for the league, and we'd give the league a good rattle if we won the intermediate. And so, well, we feel good now, and we feel that can really rattle the senior Division 1 league.
Of course, for somebody like yourself, you're playing obviously alongside a number of younger players, but you're also playing along with the more established players, we'd have to say, and indeed playing against some established players as well from Den.
That's right, yeah.
It's a bit of a mix.
It was one of those games where it was great to win, because Den are kind of old rivals of Belturbet, and they were going to put it to us physically. They really thought they were going to come out and physically push us off the pitch, and they said we were kind of a bit too small. That we're a nice footballing team, but we're a bit too physically weak. But when I seen Killy McDwyer, he was playing wing half forward He's I'd say one of our later players. I think he nearly rattled every bone in Paddy Gaffney's body. And I seen that. I reckon that this was the day we were going to take Den in the intermediate final.
That there was hope for the rest of us.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
All right then, Paul. Well done.
Thanks very much.
Thanks. All right. I don't know. I'm not sure how many Ollies we've spoken to already tonight, but we'll have another anyway. So what about it? What's the feeling now, 48 hours after all of this?
Just sinking in now what we've done. 2 championships back to back. We were just trying to discuss who was the last to do it, and I said Cavan or Belturbet, so it just goes to show we're one of the leading clubs in the county at the moment, and Cavan being such an up-and-coming county, it's great. It's great to be one of the up-and-coming teams in the county, so it's just nice.
Indeed. And I suppose to put into perspective, the last club to do it was Belturbet just over the weekend.
That's true, yeah. It makes it all
the
better.
best bit of it.
Yeah. It's all the hard work is just paying off, Like in 12 months, no one could have scripted it, it's phenomenal, the actual success. And it's good for the town. There's a communal association with the GA now in Belturbet, and people look forward to the games now and look forward to watching the lads play. So it's great.
Why do normally players claim to say that after all this hard work, what is the hard work? Where is the hard work there involved? I know.
Just outside the door there. There's Morrissey Park. It's like January, end of January, February, up in Morrissey Park. It's tough going, but
constant pounding, is it?
Yeah, just sprinting up and down hills. Get you ready, for the fast run. I guess when the summer comes in, gets you ready for championship. All stamina work, and it's. You're in it with the lads together, and it's good to go through the muck and dirt, and then go through such a great championship and win it. It's all the difference.
Now you've played in a few finals, obviously. So what do you, as a player, expect going out onto the pitch on final day?
Myself, I just take it as any other game. Other games you might want to play, get more involved with playing. I haven't played corner back. You might want to get more involved with the ball, but final day especially, you go out to mark your man. It doesn't matter if you touch the ball. Like last year's final, I touched the ball twice. You just mark your man, make sure he doesn't score, and that's your bit done. And 15 players go out and do that. They all know their own job and just do it. And I think that's one of the reasons why we had so much success. You stick to your job. If you're marking, if you're going for points, if you're passing to Jason, whatever, everyone has their own job, and you do it on the day.
Okay, right then, Ollie. Well, that's why and how, of course, Belturbet were junior champions in 1995, and follow that up, of course, in this year, 96, by winning the intermediate, and who knows.